company that's really getting a lot of good things done and really innovating around benefit admin, benefit engagement exchanges is PlanSource. And joining us on the phone today is Scott Carver, the president. Hey, Scott, good morning.
Good morning, Doug. How are you?
Good, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing terrific, thanks.
Hey, we're making this a habit, Scott. We're talking on a regular basis here.
Well, I guess that's a good thing for both of us.
Yeah, it is a good thing. You got a lot going on out there. So are you in Colorado today?
I am, yes.
Well, Scott, for the benefit of our audience, give them a little background around PlanSource, and then we'll kind of get into some of the things you're doing around benefit admin, benefit engagement, et cetera.
Yeah, PlanSource at our core, we're a benefits engagement and exchange technology platform, and we really serve the broker and carrier community to deliver a very sophisticated technology solution to their employer customers and ultimately to the consumers who receive benefits through their employers. So we've got a very, very wide footprint across the country, and hopefully many of your listeners today are at least somewhat familiar with us. And, with all the change that's happening in our industry, as you said at the beginning of the show, we've got a lot going on.
Yeah, you sure do. Talk a little bit about some of your partners and how they're using PlanSource.
Well, we distribute our technology exclusively today through the broker community. So we have a number of brokers who use our technology platform as an embedded component of their overall value proposition. Technology is becoming a much more important part of what they need to deliver to their customers. So we have a number of partners like, Marsh McLennan Agencies, Arthur J. Gallagher. You could name almost all of the large players who use our solutions today, as well as a lot of mid-market and regional players. In addition to that, we've partnered with a variety of top-tier carriers to help facilitate their extension of technology to their broker community, their customers, and the consumers who buy their products. So, companies like Aetna, United Healthcare, Anthem, Guardian, Unum, Lincoln, just, the top tier carriers in our industry use our technology to really help generate more product sales and greater participation in their products as well.
Scott, I don't know whether you heard me say during the break, but I've had unique opportunity to speak in front of several broker groups recently, banned, of course, that you have a relationship with, and the Dallas NAHU group in support of our event that we're bringing to Dallas next week. And I think it's very interesting to see the changing landscape of brokers, very positively saying, exchanges can be our best friend. They can be a great customer tool to serve our clients better and to enable us to serve our clients better. And I think that's what you're talking about right now as well. It's just, they're positively looking at how this can be just a very good tool for them.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about what a great opportunity with the notion of a marketplace to introduce more products, more services, more value-add opportunities for their customers, and introducing some level of technology to make that whole process easier and more efficient. I mean, that's just a huge win for the broker community. Absolutely, exchanges can be their friend. I think it changes the game for those who are, really thinking strategically and want to be in front of the change here.
I agree. And to really help that broker and their clients, too. I mean, ACA is a nightmare for them to stay up to speed on all the time. But you're doing some very unique things with your tool set. You want to talk about what you're doing around ACA to really provide a good tool for the brokers and their clients?
Yeah, it's a great point. Compliance is such a significant issue for employers today. And the reality of it is it would be virtually impossible for employers of any size to try to manage through all of the intricacies of these regulations without some level of technology to help them. And so we've built a very sophisticated ACA compliance tool that's fully integrated with our core benefits engagement platform. Interestingly enough, Doug, recently we had a webinar that we published, and we had over 1,600 registrants within a 3-week period. I mean, in fact, it was so well received. We're running another one here in the next couple weeks, and within of just a few days of publishing that, we've got another 500 registrants. So it's just a testimony to the level of interest around these types of solutions to help employers. And, having a fully integrated tool that can, manage all of the look-back periods and all the various nuances that are part of ACA is really, really important, including the actual form filing on behalf of these employers.
Yeah, there's just a tremendous hunger of people wanting to, learn more, find out, where they can get the right help, et cetera.
Scott, Scott, this is Brent. When you look at the defined contribution piece out there, there's a lot of discussions taking place, and what's your experience been on how employers and the benefits community out there are embracing defined contribution along with these exchange platforms?
Well, there's certainly a ton of interest around defined contribution. I would say that we're seeing a number of employers kind of dipping their toe in the defined contribution waters by oftentimes engaging what we call split funding, while they use defined contribution to fund a portion of their benefits. They may use more traditional types of funding to handle the other portion of the benefit portfolio. But clearly there is migration in that direction, and I think over the next couple years, as the private exchange or marketplace model really starts to crystallize, I think defined contribution will be a cornerstone element of that. And so I think like 401k, full adoption will occur over time. Whether you say full adoption, but I mean more significant adoption will occur over time. But it's clearly happening, and the level of interest that we see today from our brokers and employers is exponentially greater than it was, say, a year or two ago.
Yeah, and I think I would agree with that, Scott. And I was at an event recently, and we were talking about this exact subject, and I think the number that was quoted is that 1 out of 3 participants in a private exchange have access to defined contribution funding. And I think that what the follow-up conversation really was is that many employers and their broker consultant clients are saying, hey, let's move the population to an exchange first. Let's get them acclimated to this exchange, and the defined contribution, will follow in a lot of cases 1-2 years down the road. You seeing a little bit of the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, the decision support tools and the maturity of the decision support tools is driving the speed of adoption, because, this whole notion of consumerism and personalization as part of the shopping process is certainly a hot topic in our industry, something that we're very, very focused on in the way we're continuing to innovate around our platform. And as those tools become more sophisticated, more intuitive, more mature, I think you'll see employers more comfortable in fully adopting defined contribution, where you say, here's what you have to spend, and now you take full ownership of how you want to spend it across this broader marketplace. I think there's still some trepidation with that, because these decision support tools are, they're still evolving, and oftentimes they're they're expensive. They're expensive to develop. They're expensive to maintain. And so, as those costs become more palatable for employers, more employers will adopt them, and then I think you'll see, further migration to DC.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. And I think we all, while defined contribution healthcare and defined contribution benefits may be a little different than 401k, we all, I can date myself here. I go back to the launch of 401k. We had some of the same, we had some of those same thoughts when 401k was first being introduced. I mean, there was a hesitation on the part of employers to maybe overprotect their employees, and the decision making, the products weren't finalized yet. But look where we are today. The majority of consumers are in defined contribution plans, and they like them.
Yeah, unfortunately, Doug, I have to date myself with you as well, and I remember those days when, trying to select an investment fund was completely overwhelming and well beyond the reach of most of us. And now it's a routine decision for most of us.
Now, Scott, when you look at going back to the ACA one more time here, when you look at the ACA and all the the compliance and all the things that an employer needs to look at there, and then this shift to defined contribution, with these private exchange platforms, do you see an employer saying, forget this whole thing, I'm just going to go to the exchange platform, put my employees, into the exchange platform, and then have deal with the compliance issues inside of that exchange platform versus doing it the way they've always been doing it? Do you see that happening?
Yeah, well, I certainly see a shift away from what has traditionally been done by employers in terms of managing a benefit portfolio. Now, whether or not you see employers abandoning the delivery of benefits to their employees, that may happen to some degree at the small end of the market. But, our experience thus far and what we see is that employers still place a high value on employee benefits as an employee recruitment and retention tool. I think they still view it as part of the total compensation package. And so we believe that there will be a role that employers will play in delivering benefits and health care to their employees. And I think this exchange model is something that will be adopted. It has a lot of attributes that I think are attractive to employers. Ultimately, I think the ability for exchanges to manage cost trends will ultimately dictate how rapidly and how fully they adopt. But this notion of capping or having some certainty over your benefit spend through defined contribution is attractive. Putting more of the responsibility and giving people choice by shopping in a marketplace, much like they do with all of their other, kind of work-life experiences is attractive. Having everything automated and getting them out of the paper business is attractive. Not having to go through these complicated procurement and shopping experiences for benefits each and every year is attractive. So, I think there will be a shift there, and I think you'll see the truly traditional way of delivering benefits, where everything's fully paid for on behalf of the employee, and having a predefined portfolio that everybody has to participate in. I think that model will disintegrate over time.
Yeah, and I think, Scott, the interesting thing I think about the emergence of good private exchanges surrounded by good benefit engagement portals that you guys are addressing, as we create that better educated consumer, that consumer is going to feel better about the benefits they're getting, even if they do have responsibility for cost. Most employees right now don't even understand their benefits.
100% agree with you, Doug.
As they're enabled to become responsible for some of that, and they're handed choice and they're handed good education tools, that's going to have a positive retention impact on employers that are innovating and using tools like yours, to provide those services, to their employee population and their families.
Yeah, I agree. I think, as these tools become more sophisticated, this engagement platform can really be have much broader utility for employees. It can be truly a work-life tool, and so I think as employees start to see these tools as being kind of a go-to place for them to manage a variety of things beyond just their true employee benefits, it just elevates the appreciation for what their employers are providing them.
Yep. Yeah, exactly right. Well, Scott, this has been a lot of fun and very informative, and as always, I sincerely appreciate you taking time out of your day to kind of share what you guys are doing with our audience. And I want to give you a chance to kind of leave our audience with a couple takeaways.
Well, I guess the biggest takeaways are that if you're not thinking about, the use of technology in how you're conducting your business today, I think there's going to be a rude awakening in the future. This is becoming a much more important part of the overall employee benefits and healthcare landscape. Obviously, we think we've got a terrific solution, and for those of us that we're doing business with today, appreciate your business, and for those of us who have interest in what we're doing, we're happy to talk to you. And Doug, I sure appreciate the opportunity to be on your show today. It's always fun chatting with you.
Yeah, you as well, Scott. I need to get you down to our private exchange forum. I think.
Yeah, I think we're going to have some. I think we're going to have some folks there. So I'm going to be wrapped up, but I'd love to participate.
Yeah, almost like you. We're talking about your webinar. We put our stake in the ground and launched this event. We obviously cover exchange and other forums. And Brent was talking earlier. We promised the industry around 300 to 350 people. We're going to have 500 in Dallas. So I think it maybe it's a little bit testament to what we're doing, just like a testament to what you're doing. But I think it's more a testament on people really are trying to figure this out. They're trying to understand what models are doing, what's going to work. So, hey, have a great weekend in Colorado, and we'll see each other soon.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate the time.